My name is Melissa Giller. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute. In 1983, before leading his audience in the Pledge of Allegiance, President Reagan said, "If you look out at that grand flag, you can see what we think of ourselves, our country, and our future. That flag was not created by a timid nation, but by a bold one. Not a stitch was sewn in confusion or doubt." He continued, "We understand that those stars and stripes stand for freedom and the forces of good. We apologize to none for our ideals or our principles, nor the prosperity that we've made for ourselves and shared with the world. Let this grand flag forever be a symbol of the potential before us, that free men and women can soar as high as their dreams and energy and ambitions will take them." Ladies and gentlemen, the few of you who are here, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So President's Day, as you know, was originally established in 1885 in recognition of President George Washington's birthday. In 1971, the holiday became popularly known as President's Day when it was moved as part of the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, an attempt to create more three-day weekends for the nation's workers. Here at the campus that honors the American presidency, and especially President Reagan, we appreciate you're all here with us today. So we're gathered in a specific location for the groundbreaking ceremony for our Charters of Freedom Monument. Now, speaking of the Charters of Freedom in 1981, President Reagan said, "Our forefathers' dedication to liberty is clearly expressed in this nation's great charters of freedom, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. These documents, which are the very foundation of American law, guarantee certain inalienable rights and privileges to every citizen. Among these are freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of contract, the right to assemble and petition, the right of property ownership, and the right to due process of law." So let's flash forward to 2011, and you may hear about this a little bit more, but a couple by the name of Vance and Mary Jo Patterson took a trip to D.C. They went to the National Archives, saw the Constitution, the founding documents, and they were so moved that they wanted to bring these founding documents to people around the country. So they actually created Foundation Forward to put a Charters of Freedom monument in every state across America. And the Reagan Library is so incredibly honored to be the first location in California to house one of these monuments. Thank you. In addition to the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution, the Charters of Freedom Monument also has a case on civil rights. So here with us today to share the importance of having this monument in Simi Valley is our mayor, Fred Thomas. So I'm going to ask you to come forward.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. So I am proud to represent Simi Valley at this groundbreaking for the new Charters of Freedom Monument, which will include replicas of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the amendments related to civil rights on this President's Day. The Reagan Library is a gathering place for leaders of all ages who convene here to reflect upon Ronald Reagan's contributions to our historical landscape, and is an invaluable lesson of leadership that he bestowed during his time as our president. As we gather on this President's Day, initially designated to honor our nation's first president, George Washington, who forged the path of how presidents were to govern, now an opportunity for patriotic celebration, it is fitting that we celebrate with today's groundbreaking. The Charters of Freedom were carefully crafted to create and reflect upon the nation that we wanted to be and the nation we continue to strive for today. They're words shaping national dialogue today and defining the values that we hold most precious in our country. Located at one of the most visited presidential libraries, the Charters of Freedom Monument will be viewed by thousands, many of whom will be inspired by their own journey of service. I am looking forward to having this treasure here in Simi Valley. Thank you, and happy President's Day.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Honored to have you here. Those were great remarks. Our next, I think, speakers actually come from Foundation Forward, so I'm going to ask Mike and Adam to come forward.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for enjoying this lovely day with us. I traveled here from home in South Carolina, and I didn't mean to bring the hurricane weather with me, but unfortunately it followed me here. But thank you very much for joining us today. We're very happy to be here and to do the ceremonial groundbreaking for the first Charters of Freedom ceremony in the state of California. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit today about our organization, Foundation Forward, our Charters of Freedom mission, and what you can expect in the coming months here at the Reagan Library. But first, I would like to introduce Adam Graff, who is a local Simi Valley resident, and he and his lovely family, who's over here, they invited me to come out to California. Adam told me that he had a wonderful location right in his backyard that would be a perfect spot for a Charters of Freedom setting. And I came out in, I believe, May of last year and visited with him, met with Melissa and the staff here at the Reagan Library, and we walked around and looked at a number of sites on the campus. And when they told me that right here in front of Gippers Grove was the spot that they had selected to be the first setting in the state of South Carolina, I got goosebumps. I really did. It was wonderful, and we are so excited to be here. So, Adam, thank you and your family for inviting our organization out here and introducing us to the folks in this area. We're glad to be here. So, as Melissa mentioned a little bit, our foundation was started by Vance and Mary Jo Patterson in Morganton, North Carolina, and they visited the National Archives in 2011. They were so overcome by the experience of looking at the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, and they said to one another, how are we in our 60s, and this is the first time that we've had a chance to, or that we've taken the chance to go and see these documents in person? And how many people never get that opportunity or take the opportunity if it's presented to them? So they went back home to Morganton, North Carolina, and they met with some of the elected officials, and they came to an agreement to build a replica of the setting on the grounds of their historic courthouse. And at the time, that was the only location that was planned. It was just something that they were going to do for their local community. But as soon as they built and dedicated that first setting, several of the surrounding counties took notice, and they started inquiring how could they get their own setting. And from there, it grew to other states. And now, 10 years later, we have Charters of Freedom settings in over 50 locations across the country, from Wasilla, Alaska, all the way to Georgetown, South Carolina. Now, with having built a little over 50 in the past decade, people are really starting to take notice. And we have over 50 new settings planned for construction this year alone. So we are very honored and privileged to be growing as an organization and to be recognized by wonderful establishments like the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and the state of California. So we will be doing a ceremonial groundbreaking today, which will kick this off. Construction will begin in the coming months, and everything will be completed in time for a grand dedication ceremony on the 4th of July. So we would like to invite all of you back here for the 4th of July, and anyone who is watching on television or social media, please come out and visit us for that celebration, where we will be unveiling the brand new setting of the Charters of Freedom, which will include these replicas not only of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. They will also include a donor's recognition pedestal and pavers where people can be recognized for their contribution toward the program. And there will be a safe that is built into the setting that will house a time capsule. And so we will have signatures from everyone who is in attendance during the dedication ceremony, as well as everyone who has been involved in the project, and letters that are written by members of the community will go inside that time capsule. And that time capsule will be open along with all of the other time capsules in Charters of Freedom settings across the country on September 17th, 2087, which is Constitution Day, the 300th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution. And so I'm planning on being here that day. I hope all of you are, 63 years from now, right? But it is our hope as an education organization that some of the children who are here in the audience with us today and who will be here for the dedication ceremony, they might grow up and they might be the mayor or the governor or members of council who are opening up that time capsule and saying, reading the names and seeing the pictures from these events and saying, I remember being there when I was 5 years old or 7 years old, or my grandmother or grandfather is one of the people who spoke at that event or put a shovel in the ground during the ceremonial groundbreaking. So that's why we're here today, to put all of that in motion, and I really thank you all for coming out and being part of this.
Thank you, Mike. Before we get to the actual groundbreaking, I do want to share one final thought from President Reagan. He shared these words in 1987 while speaking to honor the bicentennial celebration of the United States Constitution. He said, "Active and informed citizens are vital to the effective functioning of our constitutional system. All of us have the obligation to study the Constitution and participate actively in the system of self-government that it establishes. This is an obligation we owe not only to ourselves, but to our children and their children. And there is no better time than right now to dedicate ourselves to the Constitution and value it contains." So before we get to the groundbreaking itself, I'm assuming you would like to, we're going to unveil, maybe Adam and Mike want to do this. So what you're going to see right here, as we were talking about, the monument has the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. And this is what it looks like. Go.
Yes. So instead of the paper documents, our settings are made with laser engraved bronze tablets, each weighing over 60 pounds. And we have one of those tablets to unveil for you today. Thank you very much.
So as Mike said, we're going to now do the groundbreaking, and we do invite everyone to come back July 4th when there will not be rain to watch the actual unveiling. But what's fun is we are going to do the groundbreaking, but when we're done, we invite each of you to step forward and pick up one of our shovels and join the groundbreaking, pose for a photo, and be part of this very historic moment of groundbreaking the Charters of Freedom Monument at the Reagan Library. So now we're going to ask.